I tweeted this before, but I'm gonna mention it again. NieR Automata anime adaptation is amazingly good. Amazingly good. They add new elements in, but it expands the world, it gives characters a bit of depth, and it doesn't mess up with the actual game story itself. It's an adaptation done right. I'm enjoying it a lot, even though I've played the game, and I have a feeling that a lot of people that haven't played the game will be able to enjoy the anime with a reviewing after what I hope to be a very, very nice ending that gives everyone a bit of context, and then once you watch it a second time, it's more of a, oh, very similar to how when you play Route A, B, and then you play Route C, you kind of look at Route A and B very differently. So a very, very, very well-made adaptation. So let's just jump right into it. We've got the new episode, which is episode 6, I believe. So I'm really curious to see what they do and what they add. Emil is kind of like stuck in the tree. That being said, there's more than one Emil running around. So that could just be like one of those Emil, I don't want to call them clones, but like one of the Emils that replicated himself that's stuck in the tree. There could be more than that Emil running around. But like, it's a little bit different from what we had in the game, but that's perfectly fine. Especially with how they're handling it. I love it. I love all the extra bits that they gave us, like the story of the machines that were looking after the flowers. It really nicely gave a lot of context to what's going on. So it's going to be really interesting with Adam and Eve now in the story as well. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I think Minesweeper. I think Minesweeper. I love how the subtitles are enabled, but not enabled. She's dreaming. She has dreams. A memory? It's 2 a.m. You can go to sleep. Just catch the VOD. If you guys need to sleep, you can catch the VOD. It's alright. You don't have to kill yourself staying up. I know a lot of people wanted me to watch Attack on Titan during the weekend, but unfortunately, we couldn't do it because it didn't release by the time we had the Friday live stream, and Saturday and Sunday live streams are non-reaction. They're games. So we had to wait till Monday, which is alright, but Monday's just jam-packed with all the new releases. What can you do? What can you do? Man, this needs a longer season. They're just jam-packing as much of the story as they can. I really hope that they include some of the other missions as OVAs, because this anime needs OVAs. There's so much in it. You can't include everything. There's just too much in it. It's just too good, man. Way too good. Oh, by the way, the SSD arrived, so I can rebuild the PC before Resident Evil 4 Remake comes out. So we should be all good. Why do I have a feeling they're going to encounter the unit of those 3 Yoha units that were marked as traitors? As soon as I see this bridge, I automatically think they're going to encounter those 2 units, and then they encounter the 3rd one after they finish fighting the first 2. Oh, that's going to suck. And then shortly after, A2 comes around. No! Oof. Oof. People that haven't seen the whole game, please shut your ears. I absolutely love how 2B is trying to keep distance with 9S because it always turns out the same way. Imagine the torture. I mean, we had this discussion during the game, but imagine the torture. You remember every single one, and none of them remember you. And every time it starts the same again and again and again and again. It's just fucking torture. Which is why I want that particular mission, you know, the one that I'm talking about, to be an OVA episode. Because it's such a good one. I can't believe that mission in the game is optional. It is such a good mission. It just hits, especially when you understand. See, I'm getting chills down my spine just thinking about the music. But when you actually understand the context, it hits even harder. Oof. It's that mission, isn't it? The one you read about. It's the same reason A2 left. Oh! Oh! Are we gonna get a flashback? We all know how that ended. I love that you take a look at the weapon of choice for machines that will survive a long time, and of course, it's Soviet arms, because it's indestructible. But at the same time, like you guys mentioned, it's interesting that these androids can somewhat dream. But you take a look at the machine life forms themselves, and they're clearly operating outside of their original coding. They've clearly started, writing their own code and reading their own code and becoming slowly more and more what we would call as self-aware. Why is there fear? Why is there hesitation? Why is there doubt? Why would anyone program these elements into a machine that's sent in to fight till death? Well, the answer is probably they didn't. We're getting a flashback episode. This is going to be beautiful. Because the F part is, this part of the story is only available either through reading the computer that's in the resistance camp base or watching a live action Yoha play that was only ever shown in Japan and is only available through a very limited release DVD that never came with subtitles. Finally, the stories is accessible for normal people. Thank you. We don't have to scour the freaking internet for a DVD that never had a digital copy with subtitles. Thank you. This is what we wanted. Now turn it into a 2-hour animated film. I still remember reading this for the first time. And I don't like reading. But by the end, I wish that reading that story was mandatory in NieR Automata. Similar to reading the stories of the grandmother in NieR Replicant. It just gives so much context. An unbelievable amount of context. I am so happy this made it in. And I find it kind of funny that I kept mentioning it. But I love it. I'm jittery. I'm getting a mixture of chills because I kind of know what's going to happen. But I'm also excited because I've only had my imagination to paint a picture of what's going on. Like, I already love this episode. This is like a gift to the fans. It's not just telling the story of NieR Automata. It's also giving the fans that love the game something. I love this. I love how they call it family, not unit. The snake is like, I'ma kill you. It's like, you can't. I'm synthetic. You can't tell me this girl doesn't look like the one from Overlord. Same hairstyle, same hair color. But come on, it's anime. It's pretty, generic. Oh my god, they gave her a 22. That is fucking useless. What is this, kindergarten? I'm sorry, but it is a child's toy. It's a 22. Come on. See? And they use Soviet firearms. They're just that much more reliable. Why would you use a non-Soviet firearm? What? I have to appreciate one little detail. It's on full auto. I love it. It's actually on full auto. And she's got her finger not on the trigger, but just out. With proper gun safety. I like it. Someone in this anime department knows a thing or two about guns. I like this. Well, now you gotta clean it. Hmm? Oh, corrupted. Yes, that part of the story. You see, this kind of makes sense as to why they would use words to communicate rather than simply transfer data. If there are things such as logical viruses, it's also a form of protection against it. You're using normal words. Of course, the normal words would be transferred into code in the machine and then it would read it that way. But it makes it a lot more difficult to, upload a crap ton of code through words. As opposed to, I am transmitting data. Please read it and respond. Boom! It's a virus! I love how everyone's trying to hold her down, except the fat android is actually just standing there and she could single-handedly just sit on her. But okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, if you turn it off and back on again, you could fix most computer problems. See, the fat android is just fucking standing there. Sit on her or something. She's just standing there. Ladies and gentlemen, we can see what happened in Kuwait when people were asking for an evac on a rooftop, and the US basically told them to go fuck themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to war. Now that's storytelling. Fuck. Oh, you know. Just the occasional trauma. Just a tad. A little bit. Not too much. Just a little bit. Sorry, I missed the first line. Oh! See what I mean by context? How was that optional reading the context? How? How was that optional? How the F is this story optional? I know in the game, like you said, Anemone is alive, but she died in this anime so Lily could be alive instead. This is what I mean by this anime making changes. But these changes work. Because from a storytelling perspective, this conversation isn't taking place in the resistance camp or reading the computer to read the logs of the mission like we do in the game, but rather it's an actual conversation while they were doing something. That's why this adaptation is so good. It understands when to change things, but keeps the spirit alive. That's what a good adaptation does. It adapts it into the format so it fits and works. You don't just change things for the sake of changing things. You only change it when you need to. And this is why I love this adaptation so much. It understands it. And it, like, in my eyes, from memory, if you read the mission log, it's a lot worse than this. But I liked how they did it here. Because it still had that hit. But my god, how is it optional to read that log? Because it gives so much context. The resistance camp, as well as another character in the game. It's so powerful. And if you link 2 and 2 together, at that point you begin to doubt Yoha. Especially if you did some of the other missions. Like finding the 2 Yoha units that are deserters. And then you get the mission to destroy. And it was like, what happened to capture? You know? And then when you wipe them out, you fight their leader. I think it was like 10A or something. Or 8A or whatever it was. And then you're like, please, 9S is like, please stop doing this. And then she's pretty much saying all these things that at the time, you don't understand what they mean. But if you put that puzzle piece and you take the puzzle piece from reading the log of this mission, and then you take what A2 is saying, and you do a couple of the other optional missions, like even if you're on route A and B, you start going, hang on, what the fuck's going on here? You know? So I understand that it's open and you can dive as deep as you want to dive. But at the same time, some of these elements just feel so critical. I understand that the game rewards you for exploring, and some people might just want to do the surface level of the game. But my god, would you be missing out on a lot of emotional payoff from understanding the full context of what's going on? To be deciding not to answer Lily's question and NieR's walking back to them was a great scene, with A2 then slaughtering machines. Yeah, that's why this anime is going to have excellent rewatch value for people that are watching this for the first time. The scenes are well choreographed. It's beautiful. It's subtle. It's beautiful. This ED was amazing for several reasons. The way all of them had petals scattered around them, representing the flower they were named after, lily in a glass, then margaret, gerbera, daisy, dahlia, anemone, and rose. Do we have a post-credit? Yes, we do. Adam and Eve. Oh my god. Fishing. Is he gonna get the fishing ending? He's gonna eat a fish? Hey, Frick, I think they got your computer files or something. Hey, look, he's got a showering gun. Better than them being naked. I mean, this is the PG version. Huh? Fed up, Adam left the camp to its fate and decided to go fishing. Yep, that's it, fishing. With a smile on his face, he packed up and headed for the coast. Wasn't that supposed to be one of the endings we had? Adam just said fuck off and just left Eve. I mean, I would too. It's a bit of a high maintenance. No, like, I've got nothing but praise for this adaptation. I've got nothing but praise. Never played the game. You get an ending for eating a fish. Yeah, you end up dying. You end up dying, basically. But yeah, I've got nothing but praise for this adaptation. I think this is just a beautiful example of how it's done right. I don't like that it's being overshadowed simply because it's an anime. It's not fair. They talk about game to show adaptations, but they don't count anime. Why? It's a media style. Whether it's animation, CGI, live action, theater, you know, all these things, it's a different style. But the style should match what you're trying to portray. And there's absolute, like, what really gets me about Westerners, and I'm talking about normie Westerners, is that they will disregard an entire medium simply because they don't want to try it. Similar to how many in the West will refuse to read novels or novelization of movies or anything like that because they just simply don't read. Just because you don't consume that content does not mean that content is not good. They'll go out and be like, Game of Thrones is the shit. And I'm like, mate, go read the books. Or they'll be like, oh, Star Wars was alright. And I'm like, mate, read the novelization for, you know, whatever movie you want. It's absolutely amazing. And then they'll go out and watch a shitty live action adaptation but disregard the medium from which it's based, whether it be manga, whether it be anime, whether it be a game, because it's not their thing. It's just like, what the hell? Anime deserves its spot as a medium. It's probably better than just a real-life live-action adaptation. Because you need to build the world. Real-life live actions are sometimes mostly shit because it misses the essence of the original source material. They just put real people in a costume and thinks that's enough. It might be enough for a high school production with a bunch of kids, but it doesn't capture the soul and the essence of the story. But then again, just listen to some of the music that they listen to. I did wish they did show the stage play from number 2 about remembering being a young girl who lived happily with her grandmother on a farm. Well, all of these units had implanted memories, and this was done to give them a personality. The problem is that, like anything, in an anime, you have to choose what to keep and what to take out. And I am very, very, very happy they decided to keep this, but it consumed an entire episode just for this story. So it is very difficult. I would absolutely love if they keep the mission about recovering memories, or I think it's called Forgotten Memories or something like that, because I feel that the payoff is just fucking huge, especially when you replay or rewatch and understand the full context, because it is just magical. And I noticed that they did remix a song during the anime. I don't know exactly which song they remixed, but they did remix a song, which was very good. It was very good. It was very good. But like, holy shit, if they end up just doing it and remixing this, it would just take the anime to another level. Because Route C, D, and E are dark. A and B are like fluffy. The rest are just dark. I really want to read an anime novel or something, of course. Can't read Japanese, and another is to find a good source online. I know from when I watched some anime and the light novels were Japanese only, there are a lot of communities that actually do fan translations. And some of the fan translations are about 95% there. Yeah, they might not exactly describe the scene one-on-one because they're not a linguist. But if you get 90% of what's going on and 90% of the dialogue there, I'm pretty sure you're capturing most of the spirit of the story. You posted the girls' manga in the NieR channel? Cheers. I wonder, I read comments after the episode. Supposedly the VAs were the people who did the live play. Is that true? I don't know. But it would be very nice if it is. Because the people that would have done the live action play, particularly the first few, it wasn't a big audience. It was a very small, limited release production. It wasn't big. It was very, like, concise. So it would be nice that the people that rehearsed, memorized lines, choreographed, a lot of sequences, actually got a reward for it by voicing the characters in the anime. I think that would be very nice. I would like to think that Square Enix and Yoko Taro would do something like that for their employees, because that would mean a lot to them. That would really mean a lot to them. It would be some payoff after all that hard work and recognition, particularly considering it's not available in the West. So it would be very, very nice. I'm not going to read the manga or anything like that. This is an anime reaction at the moment. So this type of stuff is usually later during reaction streams because it's an edition. So I'm definitely not going to read it. But if anyone's interested, feel free to go to the NieR Automata channel. It's very nice. Yeah, they really captured the essence very nicely. They captured the essence very nicely. This is just an overall an amazing franchise. There's no two ifs or buts about it. It's an amazing franchise. It's definitely taking off. I hope that Square Enix keeps throwing wood on the fire. I think it's got the potential to blow up. And that means remakes. That means Drakengard 3. That means Yoko Taro's busy. That means more OST. That probably means an English translation to the, not the audiobook, but like the audio tracks that are in Japanese only that we had to read the subtitles for. A translation to the, Grimoire NieR and things like that. I think there is a lot of potential there. Then there's NieR Replicant. Again, there's so much potential there. There is a lot of potential. And it would be beautiful. So that's why I really hope that the anime just blows up. I know the sales of NieR Automata have really gone up since this anime started releasing. So I really, really hope that they keep adding wood to the fire. They would be crazy at this point not to greenlight, remakes of Drakengard 3 and potentially anime for NieR Replicant. That would drive home. And then it comes to merchandise. They're selling and they're producing more merchandise for NieR Automata. I get it, it's for a very niche audience, but it still counts as sales revenue. The company's making a margin from it. And if something's profitable, companies are willing to invest money behind it. So if they're making bank now off NieR Automata years after its release, it would be crazy not to do the same thing about NieR Replicant. And if they do that, and it's also successful and it makes bank, then they would be really bloody crazy not to do the same thing to Drakengard 3. And if they do end up doing that, then they'd be even more crazy not to do it for Drakengard 1. You see what I mean? It's like next step, next step, next step. Because I know companies love to plan their cycles on... They do like a yearly 12-year plan, but they also love to do like 3-year plans. And it's like horizon planning. It's like, what is it on the next horizon? Yes, it's not set in stone, but it's on the horizon. So I really hope that they do it. I would absolutely love it. I know I'm late to the Yoko Taro party. I only played NieR Automata a few years after it was released, but I love it. So I'm very hopeful. And I would consider myself a hardcore fan. Sorry, I don't have any of like the live action figurines and body pillows and stuff. That's not my type of thing. But if a new game comes out, I will buy it. If a new anime comes out, I will watch it. Like, I'm hooked. I believe that Yoko Taro is the Akira Toriyama of JRPGs. Really talented. He is amazingly talented in his ability to create worlds and characters within them with so many layers. It's rare to have someone with that type of talent, imagination, and then also the ability to bring that and create a game from it. A lot of people can write stories or build worlds, but they don't have the skill set necessary to turn it into a game or a movie. Yoko Taro is one of those few that is capable of doing that. That's why I want his projects to get greenlit. Give this guy money. Give this guy resources. Give this guy an unlimited supply of Japanese barbecue and beer. He shits gold. Feed him and let him keep shitting, please. He's the golden goose of Square Enix, alongside that guy that does Final Fantasy and whoever's responsible for the soundtracks. Just keep giving them whatever they need. They're really good at what they do. I wonder how Drakengard be as a remake, because only problem from watching Clem's analysis on that is that it's trying to be too edgy, a lot of sex joke, and fourth wall breaking at the same time, a good story. So the way I look at it, and I might be wrong, but this is how I approach games, anime, movies, and all that sort of stuff. I don't necessarily need to be sold on a premise or a story in order to try a game, anime, or movie. You just need to sell me... You can hook me with story, but you have to give me a character that hooks me. And I think Zero is that type of character. There's a lot of, particularly in anime, and I would call them like Japanese style games, they'll give you that type of look, like 2B, A2 and stuff like that. Zero fits the build, but she's rough, she's coarse, she's the type to get her hands dirty. It's similar enough, but different enough to be interesting and stand out. There's a lot of like cutesy sort of crap. She's not cutesy. She's fucking drenched in blood, swearing and wanting to decapitate you. I think it's different enough to capture people's attention. Particularly if they make it look smooth, have a really good trailer. Show off some gameplay, like really fun gameplay, but an interesting character. I think people would be like, this is fluid because you've got the team that made Metal Gear Rising did NieR Automata. So the gameplay is very smooth. We're talking Devil May Cry 5, Metal Gear Rising, NieR Automata gameplay here. That is sexy. Add in an interesting character, throw in some sick music, put in a big fucking dragon. I'm sold. And we haven't even started talking about the story. You would have already sold me on those things. And I think the same thing would happen to a lot of other people. Because think how NieR Automata took off. They weren't pitching the story when they did the initial trailers. They weren't telling you it's a multi-layered psychological depression simulator. They were selling the gameplay, the music, 2B and 9S. That's what they were selling. You could do the same thing with Drakengard 3. It's different, but it can be done. It can be done. And you can keep that personality of sweat. You might have to omit it from the trailer, to a degree, but you could keep most elements. Because let's face it, it's a game from Japan, and Japan doesn't give a shit about these Western, you can't say that, you can't do that. It's Japan. And people will buy it. Because not everyone is on that bandwagon of a character can't swear, a character can't, hurt people, a character can't do this, a character can't do that. A lot of people will buy it specifically because they do. It's different. It's refreshing. And it's fun. It's fun. It could be really, really fun. I believe they were very close to a NieR or Drakengard anniversary, so they might capitalize on that. You always capitalize on hype. It's more about the story and writing around Zero that would be tough to carry over. Not really. Not really. It would be difficult to carry over anything from Drakengard 1 and 2, but thankfully you don't actually need to. You could mention a few things which could open the door to Drakengard 1, but you don't explicitly need to understand Drakengard 1 to enjoy Drakengard 3. I get about Zero contrast with 2B and Kaine. Yeah. And that would work too. There is a little bit of familiarity. So anyone that played NieR Automata and NieR Replicant, you've pretty much got them in the bag. Well, Kaine is similar to Zero, but a little different. Yes. But everyone loves Kaine. They love her personality. From what I heard, there is a lot of disturbing and sensitive dumb plot points even when compared to NieR. Well, a bit like anyone, people change, people develop. Even Yoko Taro as a creator would have learnt a lot from doing Drakengard 1 and 3. It's a remake. Things can change. Let the man do it. I think he knows what he's doing. Psychological Depression Simulator is the most accurate about Yoko Taro games. I remember that Yoko Taro meme. It was like, have you had depression before? And they're like, no. And it's like, would you like to? A Yoko Taro game. Alright, guys. Thank you. We're going to take a quick little break. We're going to watch The Last of Us, followed by Attack on Titan, the final season, followed by Naruto Shippuden. I hope to see you next week. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching the whole video. Apologies that there's no audio, but there is audio on the Patreon version. You can check it out there, or you can join us on Twitch and watch it live. Quick little break, and we're going on to the next one.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun size, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.